so when we look at who is in Congress and who are our elected officials, we will notice that there are a lot of Gen Xers and a lot of baby boomers that are running our government and are making laws and ordinances. And that's all public policy is. Public policy is the laws that govern what we're doing. They are the rules that we go by that are on the books. And there is definitely a conservative bent to the laws in our state. One, we'll just start with the fact that taxes in general are lower in Texas. We do not have a state income tax. There are plenty of states that take out money for federal income taxes, and then they also take out money for state income taxes. New York and California, I know, come straight to mind. Another thing that you will see is that it is much harder to receive public assistance, to qualify for public assistance in Texas than it is in, say, California. And there are fewer people that will accept that they need it. There are plenty of people that qualify for public assistance that are that just would never accept it. Maybe not right now. I think all of us have had to kind of adjust what we some of the things that we will accept, and everybody, just about everybody, got a check from the federal government, and I don't think anybody said return to sender on your relief checks. We also see a lot of social conservatism in our public policy. One of them is the dislike of abortion, working to try to ban or make it very difficult to get an abortion, trying to reduce funding for organizations that, even though they don't do it in Texas, are advocates for abortion services. I don't know if you've noticed, but casino gambling is not allowed. It is actually part of the Texas Constitution, and we had to go and amend our Constitution to add that we could play the lottery, because gambling in general was prohibited, or is prohibited, in the Texas Constitution, except lottery and except the two places where we have parimutuel betting for horse races, both of them in the Constitution. The use of marijuana, even for medicinal purposes, has not broken through, and that is a lot because of our conservative public policy and our conservative political culture. There was, a few years ago, there was an approval for the medicinal use of cannabis oil for young children who had severe epilepsy. They set up a way for us to have 5 dispensaries in the state. Only one of them has opened. But medicinal use, even bills that have been trying to give an exception for veterans that may have PTSD, have been routinely voted down or not received enough votes. Recreational use, no. Although you will see some counties like Dallas County and Harris County, where Houston is, both decided that they were going to stop arresting people and charging people for small possession of small amounts of marijuana. So they made those decisions in defiance of state law. Let's talk a little bit about state political cultures. This guy named Daniel Elazar came up with these three categories, and he used it to basically have subcultures. So moralistic is a subculture of liberal, and individualistic and traditionalistic are subcultures of conservative. So Mr. Elazar, when he said moralistic, he was not in this instance talking about Bible, Torah, Quran morals. He was talking about just the right thing to do. Someone that has a moralistic political culture believes that it is moral to help people and that people should get involved in government. It is their duty and their job to really value and know exactly what is going on and roll up your sleeves and be the person to make sure that it actually happens. At someone that has individualistic political culture, the root word of that is individual, they are most worried about themselves. Self-sufficiency. What is government going to do for me? How is it going to make life easier for me? So in general, someone that has an individualistic political culture doesn't want a lot of government regulation. In fact, they really would like for government to stay out unless they are making something easier. So you can make some highways, you can stop regulating me, you can make sure that my taxes are low, but I really don't need you to come into my house and police me. I got that. And I don't need you to come into my business and try to regulate my business. I just need you to make it easier for me to live, make money. And then there's traditionalistic political culture. Root word is traditional, and usually this is tied up in religious values as well. And government's job, if someone is traditionalistic, is to maintain what has been the tradition. So the dominant social values and the dominant religious values, that is what government's job is to be. So if traditionally we have not allowed two people that are the same gender to marry, or if the Bible says, in my estimation, that two people that are the same gender shouldn't marry, then your role, government, is to make sure that that happens. If certain group of people have been dominating and have been having power, then your job, government, is to make sure that those same people maintain power. Because we're not trying to upset the apple cart. We're not trying to change tradition. That's the way things have always been. Your job, government, is to make sure that we keep it that way, if you are traditionalistic. So at this point, the text goes into the different regions. But let's just put a pin there and look overall. The dominant political culture in Texas is a mix of traditional and individualistic cultures. On the map that you will see next, they have labeled the regions, they have named the regions, and they have indicated whether or not that region is traditionalistic dominantly, individualistic dominantly, or moralistic. And I don't think that there are any moralistic on the map. So if you are, here's a real good example. Individualistic really are not that worried about government. So they're worried about taking care of themselves, taking care of their families, taking care of their businesses. And so what that means is that in Texas we have super low voter turnout. We are usually somewhere between 47th to 50th in the percentage of people that actually are eligible to vote that actually vote. We have very low voter turnout traditionally. Although that midterm election in 2018, um, we saw amazing numbers, amazing numbers. So I don't know if that was just a fluke because of who the people were. Ted Cruz was tremendously unpopular. Beto O'Rourke was conducted himself like a rock star and um, went to along the highways and byways and shook everybody's hand that he could and went to several places. You could see him at a bar on one evening and at a black church on Sunday morning. Um, and so that may have just been lightning in a bottle, but it'll be very interesting to see if we go back to our traditional low voter turnout ways or if that was the beginning of something new for our state. Certainly, I hope that it was the latter.